So what do guys usually think that women are attracted to? They think they're attracted to money. They think they're attracted to strong jawlines. They think they're attracted to muscles. They think that they are attracted to symmetry. They think that they want youth. They want young guys. They want the genetically proper guy. Because from a guy's perspective, what do they want from a woman? They want the looks. They want the youth. So it makes sense you think that. It must be for the money that these women are dating these guys. Now, what's the truth of the matter? Now, first and foremost, women aren't attracted necessarily to money, but they are attracted to status. That is true.
Listen up, fucktards. You can demonstrate status without money or actual status. It's in the way you act and exude confidence. No limiting beliefs in the comments or I will make your life a horror flick. The things Denton cites in this video are the things and mindsets he has found to give men the best results. Hate it or love it. It works.
However, if you have status and you're a wuss, it doesn't help. It does not help you out whatsoever. If you're a total pussy, if you're constantly needy with the woman, if you are unwilling to stand your ground, if you bow out to her, this kills the status instantaneously. You have no status with a woman and you have no attraction from her. If a guy is drunk, what happens? If he's trying to choose a woman, he generally chooses a lower quality woman than he generally would get with, correct? Now, when a girl gets drunk, she chooses a socially more inept guy than she would generally choose. That's where the women are starting to feel really bad. It's not even about the looks. They could give a fuck if the guy looks good, but they feel bad afterwards if the guy's a total fucking loser. If the guy's a loser afterwards and he has no confidence, no social charisma, he doesn't have any status, it's just gross. It's disgusting. A lot of you guys think that having money, objects, things like that really matter. Now, the problem is, go out there and try to tell a girl you have money, see if she's gonna suck your dick, because more than likely, not gonna happen. And the fact that you're even saying that says that you think you're lower than her because you have to qualify. If you're a masculine guy, you are a vacuum of qualification. You never qualify to other people. You don't use extra words. You don't feel social pressure to do anything. You are just solid. You are a rock. The guy that cares the least, the guy that's the most grounded, the guy that's the most masculine and willing to treat her like a person is going to be the guy that she ultimately would go home with, if that were the case. Now, like I said, women are attracted to social status and authentically being a cool guy and a socially powerful guy. Why? Because back in the day of tribes, these were very powerful traits to have. If you were very fluent and social and confident, could you raise her kid very well? Would her kid have protection? Back in the old days, kids had a very, very high mortality rate, 80%, between the age of 0 and 15. That is massive. However, if your husband was a man of social status, if he could protect the child, if he had all the males on his side, how likely would his kid be likely to make it on to the next generation? A lot more likely. This is why it's so fucking valuable. This is why social status is more powerful than attraction. This is why being a confident, cool guy is more powerful than attraction. This is why being authentic and not treating the girl like an object is very attractive, because no guy can do that. The fact you can do that shows abundance, shows that you have options, shows that you probably don't really need her because there's a lot of other women after you, which is also another way that women find people attractive. They find them attractive by pre-selection. If other women like you, genetically speaking, there's probably a good chance why they like you. So what happens? You become more attractive to them. It turns up because the girl sees people chasing you. Oftentimes, a lot of guys in my industry will actually use this to their advantage. Will use the fact other women are hitting on them and put it on and show it off and showcase it. It's almost like a peacock, because the peacock has all the feathers. The peacock's obviously surviving with those feathers, so it must be a very agile bird. People, however, guys, if a guy has all these women around him, he must be a very valuable bird. He must be one of those fuckers that can really, put it out there. That's very success-ridden. Now, if you're a guy who's not actually confident, who doesn't actually have social status, that isn't really charismatic, and the women don't really like, and you're approaching a random girl and you're trying to talk to a stranger, and you're trying to express that you do have this, the thing is that girls oftentimes will get mad at you. The reason being is because you're trying to play up that you're something that you're not. If she were to invest in you and she were to, let's say, sire your kid, that's years that she wasted and that she fucking invested into this just to find out that the guy that came up to her was a loser. So when you get caught on this and you get called out, women oftentimes exhibit anger. Isn't that really funny? It's because biologically, you're trying to fuck her over. Biologically, you're lying to her and you're saying that you have something you don't. It's not a proper value exchange. Now, guys and girls differ a lot. Now, I'm gonna say a few things that are gonna piss some people off. Understand it's on a spectrum. It's not for every girl. Not every girl falls under like one or the other kind of a category. Like we all have our own different genetics. We all are nurtured differently. People fall on the spectrum differently. So this is just a general bias. So first and foremost, men do have more of a drive to go chase things. It's biological. We're made to go conquer stuff. We're made to go and master things. Women, on the other hand, oftentimes are built to be more effeminate. They're in their emotions. They are stronger socially than us men, to be honest. Like when it comes to this part of the brain, women are more developed here. They have more of a skill to understand social emotions, to understand how somebody may be feeling. Women are a lot more developed in this area than guys are. However, guys are also, again, better at building stuff. We're better at creating companies, dominating things. We're better at conquering. Women also do a better job at lying to themselves. Not that guys don't do it at all, because honestly, we also do it a lot, but women are better at it. Women are better at it in the way that they can create a lie, and in their head, they can make it into reality. Now, this is very good for when you're trying to navigate social situations, because the more you believe something, the better you can lie about it. The more you actually believe it, the better the lie becomes. So women just generally are better at this. Now guys cheat physically. Now, women, if you've ever had a guy cheat on you, he's not usually, he totally can cheat emotionally. But more likely than not, men cheat from a physical standpoint. They cheat from a place that it's just about sex, about reproduction. The man genetically wants to get as many offspring to the next generation as possible. It's how we're all here today. We had ancestors that got as many children off to the next generation as they possibly could. This is the man's strategy. Now, women's strategy is different. The women's strategy is, I can only get pregnant with one guy's baby, and then I raise that baby up until that baby can handle himself. Now, I need a guy that's gonna be one, stable, two, as high status as I possibly get while keeping him around for the child. Now, this is where it comes into attraction comfort that we brought up earlier. Now, if you're playing the provider card and you're trying to play the resume card, if you're trying to play the pretty boy card, you have to worry about this register. Now, if you're playing more of the fun, like excited, like stupid guy, the guy that has no ego, the girl will completely forget about this. And if you're high enough value, if you're one of those like really cool ass guys, just like really carefree and shit, and you're not coming across as a provider, the girl will treat you differently and she'll have sex with you a lot faster because she knows you won't judge her for it. So how do girls cheat differently than guys? Girls cheat emotionally. They cheat on emotions. If a girl is cheating on you, first and foremost, she's cheating emotionally. She's flirting. She's starting to put little images of what their future could be like. That's how girls cheat first, and then they sleep with the guy. If you have a girl that's ever slept with a guy, there was a lot of stuff happening before that point before she slept with the guy. Now, how is dating different for guys than it is for women? Now, for you guys, this is gonna be a big eye-opening thing. For women, I hope it's pretty eye-opening for you too. Now, women, guys lie all the time about how much sex they have. For example, maybe your girl will tell you that she really hates a guy. This guy at work, he just bugs her all the fucking time. Now, the second that you guys break up, who's the first person that she goes and has sex with? It's this guy. Because this guy had emotional charge. She didn't know how to express the emotions. Now, this is another thing. If a girl is saying negative things about you, oftentimes because she's actually attracted to you. If it comes from the place that she's constantly kind of in a very obsessive kind of a way, it means either value or threat. So her reticular activation system is right there. Does it make sense for her to continually evaluate a guy and focus on a person of the opposite sex? No, it doesn't. Not for like the point of threat. Unless the guy is legitimately a very big threat, like, causing her to possibly be fired, that makes sense. But if there's not the threat there, if she's making the threat bigger than it is, it's probably because there's something of value where it's at. Now, this also comes down to ego. Oftentimes you guys wonder why girls will full flake you. There's a factor of it where it is ego. Where it is because the girl thinks that maybe you're just talking to her for the sex, or maybe she thinks you're better than her, so she's like, well, if I go on a date, there's no way he's actually interested in me, so I'm just not gonna go. Now, men and women oftentimes also have hard times with making friends. Why? Because women and guys make friends differently. Men make friends by time spent towards a common goal. If you wanna make friends with a guy, you have a common goal and you work towards it. That's how you make friends. With a woman, however, women make friends by talking about emotions, social alliances, social connections. This is how women make friends. If you guys are a guy and you have a hard time making friends, this is how you make female friends. Talk about their emotions. Now, here's another thing I hear from my women all the time. It's guys that just hit them up randomly and just say, hey, wanna come over for a quickie? Because in their head, this makes sense. Hey, just want to come over and have sex. Women aren't driven the same way. I mean, they love sex. They like the build-up even more. It's the foreplay. They like talking to a masculine guy. They like when she acts up that he puts her back in her place. That's sexy. For a lot of other guys, it's just like, oh, it's just all about the sex. It's the build-up. It's the build-up. It has nothing to do with the fact, like the sex itself. It's the emotions behind it. It's the fact that you're so solid, that you make her feel comfortable, that you make her feel in your presence that she's a princess. It's that kind of like just being around you. She's so fucking lucky to have you. It's not even the fact that it's mutual. It's that you're better than her. In her mind, you're the best she can get. Now, I'm going to get into this a little bit further. Now, women, they do have a hierarchy in their head. Now, how does this hierarchy work? Now, oftentimes, really attractive guys, what happens? They just want to fuck a girl and leave and never talk to her again, because legitimately cool guys, they have options. It's a very top percentile of guys. Now, this top 1% though, they are not faithful because they have options. They don't need monogamy. They don't need to be monogamous. They have their choices. So when a girl's choosing a guy that she wants to maybe get in a relationship with, she will look to this and be like, this guy's too high value. Honestly, fuck it. I'm going to go for a guy in my range. Somebody that's not too far below me, that's going to be needy, but at the same time, maybe not too high above me. Maybe a little bit of neediness. In general though, it's about the underlying vibe. It's like this free, carefree, like I'm not judging myself and you're not judging me kind of a vibe. Now, this is the player vibe. Now from here, you can take the girl home because this girl doesn't expect you to be the provider. So if you guys are simply after sex, express it in this kind of a way. Do not be the guy that wants the relationship. Now, here's the thing too. If you want a relationship, this is also the best way to pull a girl into, get a girl in a relationship. Reason being is because once a girl invests in sex, she's more likely to be in a relationship with you now. Imagine if you were dating a girl and she just started getting really overweight, started getting acne. She started like her facial structure started changing randomly. Maybe she had like some kind of weird wart on her face that was just huge. You would stop wanting to fuck her. You would stop being attracted to her and you'd probably go find another mate. This is the same thing. When a girl sees that you're no longer becoming that badass, she wants to jump ship. She wants to get out of there. The average amount of sex a guy gets in his life is 7. He has 7 sexual partners in the course of his life. Now, the reason for this being is that women are very selective. Women are very selective about who they have sex with. Because again, to have a baby and to raise that baby to adulthood is a lot of investment. So you have to really know that the guy you're talking to is a badass. If he's not, you're losing out on a lot. You're losing out on the fact this baby could survive to a certain age. You could lose 5 years, and women only have a shelf life of 20 years, of 30 years when they get babies. You lose out 1/6 of your time you could have had babies. That's a really bad investment. And all because this guy became a loser. So women are very, very fucking picky. Guys, on the other hand, guys can sleep with as many girls as they want. Guys want to get sex with as many women as they can to get as many offspring off to the next generation. But most guys take on the strategy of provider. The reason they do this is because, again, 7 sexual partners, you get one girl every so often and you're not really in that playboy kind of mode. Your best strategy is provider, because you know if you sit on a girl and you just pump out babies, that you have a better chance getting the most offspring. However, if this same guy had like as many women as he wanted in his bed whenever he wanted, there'd be no point for him to be in monogamous relationships other than societal pressure. Now, at the same time, a lot of guys do want relationships. And these guys also realize that unless you have sex with a girl, there is no relationship. And guys get freaked out. Some guys have such a hard time with getting in a relationship with a cool girl that they race for it. They try to get the sex because they know that once that happens, they're in a relationship. Women though, what do women like? Women can have sex whenever they want. So they like the build-up. They like getting to know the guy. They like the energy. They like the masculinity behind the guy that complements her femininity. So she wants to feel it. She wants to feel that. And then the sex is the icing on top of the cake. It is that cherry. That's what sex is for a woman. It's not the end-all be-all. For guys though, it is. So women, when you're wondering why the guy just can't be normal and can't think around you or can't slow down, this is why. Now for guys, when you're wondering why the girl wants to talk so much, this is why. It has nothing to do with this. She wants to know that you're gonna stay around. She wants to know that you're gonna invest in the child. She wants to know that you're not gonna be like playing with her emotions or something like that. This is why women do these kind of things. Guys and women have difficult times. Women, though, have the hard time with tying down that dope guy. So she gets scared. And she knows that if she sleeps with you really fast, oftentimes what happens? You leave. You bounce, or at least the cool guys do. Those ones that she really liked. Those guys that were just so on point, they leave her. And this keeps happening. Eventually she settles for a guy, maybe in her 30s when her value starts dropping. She settles for a loser guy. Girls also have an extremely hard time Finding guys that treat them like people and that are also authentically cool. Now, the problem is that a lot of guys, they harbor negative thoughts. They feel like they have to manipulate people. They come from a place of scarcity. Now, when you come from a place of scarcity, you can't treat people like people because you want something from them. You want resources. You want women. You want the person themselves. You want to control that person. And it comes across very dark and creepy. If you guys recognize the word creepy, creepy comes from the place where you are trying to control somebody, or you're trying to manipulate them, or you're trying to put up a fake facade that is not you. However, if you're honestly a cool, positive guy, and you're very authentic, maybe you are full of emotions, you can push the girl away when you need to because you're not attached to her, because you're a person of self-abundance, because you're a person of general abundance, maybe you have a lot of women. It's very attractive to women. It's very attractive when you can say no to them, when you can have boundaries. All right, guys, and with that being said, peace out.
Last night was a close range hit. Bar room is empty and smoke. Bellowing from the chimney tip.